Hi, everybody. Good evening. My name is Tom Eccleston. I'm the Assistant Headmaster for Enrollment Management at the Hill School. Welcome to our second of 3 virtual revisit programs. We're so excited you're joining us tonight. I am also a proud Hill graduate, class of 1987, also a proud Hill dad. My daughter Tatum is class of 2019, and my younger daughter Tanner is class of 2021, and you'll get a chance to meet her later this evening. So I want to say congratulations to everybody tonight. You went through a lot to get here. You were accepted out of the most competitive applicant pool in the school's history, over 1,400 applications. We had the lowest selectivity we've ever had here at the Hill School. I also want to acknowledge all that's going on in the world right now with COVID and other things. It took a lot for you to get here. Fortunately, we were able to meet many of you on campus this fall or winter, as we were able to safely host families on campus. But we also met many of you for the first time during your Zoom interview and also through the myriad of virtual programs we did all fall and winter. So we're excited you're here tonight. Hopefully you'll learn more even about this wonderful community, meet our students, our faculty, our administration, and again, walk away from tonight just being more informed about the Hill. Before we get started, I want to talk a little bit about you, the accepted class. You hail from 31 states and 21 different countries, from some fun places like Dnipro, Ukraine, Bogota, Colombia, Antwerp, Belgium, Arona, Italy, Shanghai, China, Long Trail, Colorado, Zephyr Cove, Nevada, Malibu, California, New York, and right here in Boston. In terms of interests, you all like to do lots of things. For the girls, the top interests are field hockey, ice hockey, theater and lacrosse. For the boys, ice hockey, football, lacrosse, and basketball. Academically, we know this year that testing or submitting testing is optional, but 72% of you submitted standardized testing. And all of your scores were well above our averages from the past. So we know you're doing great things in the classroom. So I'm going to turn it over in a moment to Senior Associate Director Chris Balla, who will host our first panel. But we hope you enjoyed tonight, and as I said, learn a lot more about Hill and really get a full understanding of how special this community is. Just a program note about our 2 panels. We're going to start out with 2 panels. The first panel will be about community life and student life, dorm life, weekends, things like that, school culture. So we hope to reserve those types of questions for the first panel. And then the next panel will also be faculty and students. And that will target in that panel balancing academics and athletics. So we hope you reserve those questions for the second panel. So I'm going to hand it off to Mr. Balla and enjoy the evening, enjoy the time with our faculty and our students. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Tom. And to all of you at home, my name is Chris Balla. I work in the admission office, and I'm also a graduate of the school, class of 1997. And I want to extend a congratulations to all the students and families at home, echoing what Tom said. Congratulations on your acceptance to Hill. And the purpose of tonight is to make sure that we help you learn even more about our community. We'd love to see you all join us here at Hill next year, and we'll do our best tonight to answer questions and give you an insider's look at what happens on campus. So in a little bit, we will hear from our panelists. Each will introduce themselves. We've got a selection of students and of faculty. This is our second go around on our virtual revisit programs. And last time we realized that all of our student panelists here tonight all entered the third form together 4 years ago. So we've got a wealth of knowledge to share. So the students and the faculty will introduce themselves. While that's happening, we encourage all of you at home to start thinking about those questions that you'd like to have answered. Please use the question and answer box in order to communicate them here to us. We'll work through those questions and answer as many as we can, but please use the Q&A box to do so. For some of you brave souls out there, we'd love to have you ask your question in person, not on camera, of course, don't worry about that, but we can patch you through if you use the raise your hand feature, and we'd love to interact with a few of you, we'll call it live and in person. But again, we'll get through as many questions as we can tonight. We're really excited And without further ado, I will turn it over to our first panelist. She is sitting nearest to me, Saja Mayfield.
Hi, everyone. I'm Saja Mayfield. I'm a sixth former from Los Angeles, California. I also serve as our co-president of the Student Government Association, and I would just like to congratulate all of you on being admitted to Hill.
Congratulations to everyone who's been accepted. My name is Jen Weisbach. I am an instructor of science here at Hill. I serve as the head field hockey coach and head girls basketball coach, and currently live in an upper form girls dorm called Upper School, where I serve as the dorm head there.
Hello, my name is Andrew Curie-Layson. I'm a sixth former from Pottstown, Pennsylvania. As Mr. Ball said, I've attended Hill for 4 years, but this is my first year boarding. I also serve with Saja as co-president of the Student Government Association, and I'm on the varsity boys and the lacrosse and football team. Congratulations, everybody, and I look forward to our conversation tonight.
Hello, everyone. Congratulations. My name is Cassidy Beating, and I'm from Ocean Springs, Mississippi. Like all my other fellow students here, I'm a sixth former. I'm a member of the varsity girls cross country team and crew team. I am a 2-year prefect, and I'm also a head of tour.
Hi, everyone. Congrats. My name is Bella Basil. I'm a sixth former like all my other peers here, and I'm from, I'm the Honor Council Vice President, and I am a member of the girls varsity cross country and track and field teams, and I'm also a prefect in cheer.
Hi, I'm Ari Bob. I'm the dean of students. This is my 9th year at the Hill School. I also teach economics. I've had Cassidy for 2 years, Andrew for 1 year, Saja for 2 years in class. I also coach hockey. I don't coach any of them in hockey. And I'm a dorm parent up in School West too. So the other side of where Jen said, Andrew's on that hall. I don't have Bella in any of those areas, but I know her.
Well, thank you, everybody. We'll get to know each other, get to know you all and your experiences here at Hill in just a little bit. And we're going to go into the Q&A. Again, a reminder for everybody at home, if you have questions that you'd like to send through here for the panel to answer, use the Q&A feature. If you want to include your name and where you're from, that's always fun as well. We've got one question in, and we'll start off with it. It says, for the students, what is your favorite class that you've taken at Hill, and what made it your favorite? So we'll start off, Cassidy, if you could start there, your favorite class and what made it your favorite.
That's actually so funny that he called on me to answer that, because Mr. Baum is sitting right here too. Economics has been my favorite class at Hill. It's one of those classes that I think really truly changes your perspective on not only the world around you, but also the world that you may never have even discovered and live in. Truly, it is a class that has opened my eyes to not only what I want to do with my future, but also how I want to go about changing the world myself.
All right. Does anybody else want to add on to that? Maybe any other students want to go ahead, Andrew?
I've really enjoyed our humanities department. We're blessed with 3 great teachers, and it really encourages its students to think outside the box creatively with its writing and also projects. So I've certainly enjoyed that department.
Terrific. That's great. Going back to the Q&A, a question from Lily in New York. And Lily says, what made you really want to go to Hill the most? A certain activity, the people, facilities. Lily certainly gives us a lot of options to choose from. But students, can you pinpoint one thing that made you want to go to Hill the most?
Yeah.
Right, Sasha?
Yeah, so it's great that you asked that question, because my reason is actually here in this room with me and on the Zoom with all of you, Mr. Balla. He's the person that made me want to go to Hill. I'd done a lot of research and seen the website and all of that, but what really made my mom and I choose Hill was Mr. Balla, his passion for the school, and just how much you could tell that he loved it so much, and that he knew that it would change my life the way that it changed his and changed so many other people's. And I'm happy I took that leap of faith, and I'm happy that we trusted him, because it's been 4 years and the greatest years of my life so far. So yeah, that's why I chose Hill.
I live locally, and I've always known Hill, and I live really close, so I've always heard of it, but it really wasn't until I visited campus and got to talk with a bunch of students that were third formers, which are freshmen, and it really just changed my entire perspective on a school that I thought I knew. And it really is just such a incredible community, and it really feels like family from the moment you step on campus, and that's what immediately drew me towards the school.
All right. That's great. Thank you both. And of course, Thank you, Saja. Appreciate you saying that. You're graduating, and I will no longer maybe hear those exact words after this, but it's pretty awesome. And thank you so much. We're going to try something a little new here. We have a hand raised up in the session, and I see David, excuse the pronunciation, Slapchev. So David, we're going to bring you through. David, can you
hear me all right?
David, we have you live. First of all, David, tell us, where are you calling from?
Calling from Washington Crossing, Pennsylvania.
Washington Crossing, Pennsylvania. It is good to hear from you, David. You are on with the panelists, so please go ahead and ask your question.
All right. So I was kind of curious as to what weekends are like on Hill for boarders. I've heard great things, but I'd just like to know kind of specifically what activities are available.
That's terrific. Thank you, David. And actually, I'll ask maybe after the students answer that question for some faculty perspective. We have Mr. Bonking of students, Ms. Weisbach, a dorm parent, so she's going to have some perspective there. But does anybody want to kick it off and help David learn about weekends?
I think that our student life office does an exceptional job of providing activities for our students to get off campus on the weekends. Obviously, this year's a little bit different, but in the past, we've taken kids to New York City, to Broadway shows, to Phillies games, to Six Flags even. So there's certainly ways that you can find time off campus, and that's also welcome to day students too. Typically on a Friday or Saturday night, you'll find the majority of the school packed into the student center and at the grill. So our weekends here are a lot of fun.
And I think I can definitely speak maybe a little more on the athletic side of that, even though Andrew probably could too. But definitely I'd say Fridays and Saturdays and sometimes even Sundays are days when our athletics teams go out and really shine. We take our weekends very seriously on the fields and honestly have a lot of fun competing at a whole host of other schools. And it's really enjoyable to go out and watch your teammates when there's the occasional home game or the game under the lights.
Yeah, I think
Thank you so much for letting me ask my question. I think I just cut someone off. I'm so sorry.
David, we have more for you. Stay tuned on this.
Sure. So just to tag along to Andrew's comment there. So, those are some big time weekend activities, right? A big trip to New York City. I like to think, at least from the dorm perspective, the activities that seem to be the most popular are the trip to Target, the movie theater trips, Wawa, going out to a nice restaurant on Saturday night with your friends for dinner. So almost, it's important to understand that there are those bigger trips, but also the little ones are just as fun and sometimes the ones that you need the most on a Sunday morning.
I'll just add quickly, I think one of the most popular activities at this school is just hanging out in the dorms or just staying on campus. You would think on weekends, a lot of students leave. I think some schools are like that. That was one of the first things I noticed when I started at Hill, that students don't leave on weekends, even if they have the option to do so, which they usually do in a non-pandemic year. Students just like to have downtime together. And sometimes that downtime is on one of the trips, but I think a lot of the time on weekends, students just like to be here with each other and have unstructured time, because boredom is not really a thing that comes up too often for students here. So when you have that opportunity, they definitely grab a hold of it.
All right, that's great. Thank you, everyone. We are going to go rapid fire on our next question. So now the panelists prepare themselves. You'll hear a quick, brief answer from each of them. And the question comes from Henry Lord. And Henry asks or states that he wasn't able to visit campus, but he wants to know your favorite, and I'm going to replace the word part with place. What is your favorite place about living at the Hill? So Saja, we're going to start right here. Your favorite place on our campus?
The headmaster's garden.
The dorm.
The chapel.
I think the dining hall, bit of a foodie.
This room right here, the McNally room.
Just outside the room on the quad.
All right, thank you, everyone. We have a question coming in from West Palm Beach that says, I applied as a fifth former. Where are the panelists going to college? And maybe even to expand on that question, we have sixth formers on our panel, maybe a little bit more about the college process. But if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit of your perspectives.
I can touch on that first. The college counseling office is so great because despite the fact that we have 5 college counselors. And so that means that virtually they have, I don't know the exact number. I think it's like 70 per counselor. So that means that the process is extremely individualized and unique to you. And you can literally go in at any time with whatever you need, and your counselor will drop whatever they're doing to come and help you. So I found that my process, despite the fact that I applied to a good amount of schools under COVID circumstances, was really, really easy just because I had the support of my counselor.
And to kind of just piggyback off of what Bella was saying, that process really starts for you in your 4th form year. You'll be assigned a college counselor. And then later in your 5th form year, you'll actually have, during some of your free periods, college advisory, where they'll walk you through whether that's financial aid process or just putting more schools on the map and making sure that you're kind of ahead of the curve when it comes to applying to college. And then obviously in the fall of your 6th form year, it's go time for applying. So.
All right, very good. We've got another hand up, and so we're going to clue in Mallory Rohrbaugh. Mallory, you're being brought on to microphone. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me good?
We can, Mallory. You are with the panelists, so please, what is your question?
My question is, what is the one thing you wish you would have known on your first day at Hill? And what is the one thing you wish you would have done differently during your first year?
Mallory, that's a terrific question. Thank you so much. I'm very curious to hear the perspectives of both our students and maybe our faculty on this panel. But the question is, what is that one piece of advice that they'd love to pass on? Anybody want to start us off? Cassidy, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think I can touch on this question. I'm from Mississippi, as I stated, which is quite a ways away. So I think one of the mistakes that I made in my first year here was I didn't really get out into the community maybe as much as I wanted to. And as for the prospective students here with us tonight, I just really want to give the advice from someone who's been here quite literally all 4 years. Really get out there. Like, the community here is one that I have never known one like, and probably will never will again. But it's very, very special and something that I will always hold close to my heart, and so welcoming and so warm. And I really just want to stress to you that if you do choose Hill, which we all hope that you do, to make the most of your time here and become a part of this amazing community.
I think one of the beautiful things about the Hill School is that the magic really happens. While it does happen inside the classroom, you're going to get to know the faculty members well. Seek out mentors because they're certainly there waiting to help you. They've certainly helped me in my process, and I'm incredibly grateful for them.
Yeah, I'll just add, and it kind of syncs up with the previous question about the college process, which is that I guess I wish I had told myself my first year, even as a faculty member, that there's going to be a second year and there's going to be a third year, and they're going to be different. This is a very process sensitive place, which means that as good as your first year is, we want your second year to be better or different so that you're growing and you're reflecting on the world differently as you get older. It's not always an easy thing, but I don't think any of you applied to this school or are considering coming here because it's the easiest school to go to. And I think that each of these students would probably not summarize their 4 years here as easy. But I think this is a very process-oriented place, and we're, as a faculty and as students with each other, we really want to tell yourself in your first year that however good it is or however challenging it is, you're going to grow if there is that patience and sort of use of each other within the community. And I think if you're to take anything from the panel tonight is when you come to this school, no matter what, you're not alone, that there are people with you to celebrate, and there's people here with you to support, to guide through however you're here. And there might be people here who are just going to be here for 1 year. So I can't say that your second year will be better if you're just here for 1 year.
Thank you, everyone. So another question, Mallory, thank you so much. Appreciate that, and would love to hear from more of you. Simple raise your hand on the Zoom call, and we can have you linked up. But we're going to go to a question from Alexandra in the Q&A, and it says, what has been your favorite event or tradition at Hill? So event or tradition, panelists, who wants to take that?
For me, it's been Elville Weekend, which is our rival school, Lawrenceville in New Jersey. And that's the weekend that we spend all week. We have a Spirit Week, lot of spoon banging in the dining hall. Everybody dresses up, and it's a really, that weekend we hold games against all the sports teams against the school. And it's a huge, I think the rivalry has like 135 years, 37 years, around there. And it's a really amazing weekend, and the whole school comes together, and it's really just the best weekend on campus, in my opinion.
I really enjoy Strawberry Festival, which is later in the spring. It's usually in May, but there's live music there. There's a bouncy house. Everybody signs each other's dials or our yearbooks. And it's just a great time to kind of wrap the school year up and spend those last days with the sixth formers who will be going off to college.
I really appreciate the question because I think the traditions are a really important part of our school. Students who are here now and the many students who have gone here before. I guess my favorite tradition isn't really a tradition. It's what I've learned in the last year, during which time, just like the rest of the world, things have changed a lot. And a lot of the traditions that students identify as a big part of their experience haven't been able to continue for this year, or have changed and not been the same as what they've been. And it's funny, we're all sitting here still talking about the school and thinking about the school in a way that's sort of majestic. And I'd say that's the most important part of the Hill School to me in my 9 years, is you just feel something here, and that isn't even tied to any particular event or any particular tradition. It's just something that you feel when you're on campus. And I think that what's worth noting is I trusted a lot of you out there were not able to maybe visit the campus physically this year just due to the different travel restrictions. And I guess you'll just have to take my word for it. But there is something that you feel here, even more so in the last year, when some of those specific traditions haven't been able to continue. And I think we're very confident and hopeful that we'll be able to go back to a lot of those things as time progresses here going into next year.
All right, thank you. We're going to go next. There's a question from Bella from New Jersey in the Q&A, and it's quite similar to one that had sort of appeared earlier. And the question is, Bella mentions that she'd be coming into Hill as a fifth former, but the second part, how would you describe the transition to Hill? And so there was another student earlier who asked about coming into Hill and making friends and really adjusting to the community. And I'm actually going to start off with Mrs. Weisbach and have her comment on what she sees as a dorm parent, a coach, and a teacher of new students being welcomed into our community, regardless of the form. But we'd love to hear about that a little bit.
Yeah, so we really prioritize relationships. I think that's our number one goal here at Hill, is to build strong relationships. And one of the ways in which we do that is through our dormitories. So I live on a hall with 20 girls, sixth and fifth formers. So maybe I'll see you next year, Bella. We have built-in time during the week, specifically on Tuesday nights. We have family nights every week, where that's our time to gather as a family, gather as a hall, do a fun activity, whether we're baking cookies, decorating. We went down and played broom ball in the ice rink last night. So lots of different activities to do on that night, but ultimately it's our time to really relax and hang out together. And I think that's where we start to form those relationships. And that's where you start to get more comfortable at Hill with not only your peers, but also with the dorm parents and the faculty that you live with.
Anybody else want to follow up on that? There, maybe thinking back 4 years ago for our students of what it was like to come to Hill.
Yeah, I would say that the transition can be jarring. I mean, I'm in rural Pennsylvania, coming from Los Angeles, California. I think that's like a bit of a change for me, but it was really pretty seamless because the people are so ready to welcome you, and we're all super excited getting back here in September. And by the time Parents Weekend rolls around, which is like a month after you get here, you feel super comfortable and you've met people that you really have a good vibe with, and you feel like you're supported and you're starting to change in ways you never knew you could. So it's scary at first, but it'll all work out.
All right. That's great. We've got a couple more minutes here together. And so hopefully if there's one last student out there who wants to raise their hand and jump in, we can maybe get to you by the time we finish. But the next question comes from Maggie, and she asks, how will I find my way around school on the first day? She adds a smiley face, so I think she understands that Hill isn't quite that big. But does anybody want to talk about those first few days and getting around? Andrew, go ahead.
One thing that we do here is called the Big Sibling Program. So you'll actually be matched up with somebody who's been here for a couple of years. And what you'll do is they work it into a cookout typically. So you'll get to talk to them, eat, but then you'll actually show them your schedule, and they'll physically walk you to all your classes before school actually starts, which is a great way to become familiar with campus grounds. And even though it isn't the biggest campus, certainly when you get here for the first time, it can feel like a lot, but you'll find your way pretty quickly.
Also, I just wanted to emphasize that really, like I said, this community is one of the best that I've ever known and so welcoming. And truthfully, you can just ask, and anybody, literally the person next to you, a teacher, whether they've been here for the same day as you have or 4 years, like we will, again, walk you to your class. We understand that your first couple of days here can be, like Sasha said, incredibly jarring and a lot of adjusting, but we understand that also we want you here just as badly as you wanted to be here. So of course, we will walk you to your class. We will help you whenever way we can.
We're not pointers at the Hill School,
No.
which means that if you choose to come out there, if you come and somebody asks you how to get somewhere, you walk them to that place. And it seems like a little bit funny, but I wish more places in the world work that way. I remember when I interviewed, I didn't know where anything was, just like when you come to school for the first time. And I just like went up to the nearest student and asked them, and they walked me out of a job interview to where I was supposed to go. And I just think it's that kind of place where we just don't point. We believe in walking people where they're trying to go. And I don't think that that's just literal either.
All right. We're going to go to a question, and it's one that says, what is the most challenging thing about going to the Hill? So maybe I'll ask our panelists if they're willing to share something that was very challenging for them, something that was difficult to get used to, or something, a hurdle or an obstacle they sort of overcame. But is anybody willing to share something that's been difficult? Bella, go ahead.
For me, it wasn't necessarily the course load at first. It was this year. I was a day student for 3 years, and so I boarded for the first time this year. But as Ms. Weisbach touched on and everyone else, the dorm life is so welcoming in another aspect of Hill that I had never experienced before up until this year. But they really welcome you with open arms in the dorm, and it's really fun. It's really a unique part of Hill life that when you haven't been exposed to it at first, it's a little odd, but you get used to it really easily. And like Cassidy said, like everybody is so incredibly welcoming. I don't really know how else better way to describe it. You just gradually work out whatever issues you end up having with everyone around you. It's helpful.
All right, and I think we'll get to our final question here. It's an important one that plays a large part in students' lives here at Hill. And the question is just simply, can you discuss a little bit about our advisory program? That is a real point of emphasis at our school and for our students. And so if we can get some perspectives from the panelists about advisors. Sasha,
Yeah, wow, this is really funny because Mr. Baum is actually my advisor. He has been my advisor for 4 long years. I'm kidding. No, it's been really amazing. And I think sort of going back to the last question of what was a challenge for me, it was being so far away from my family. I'm really close to them. And to be here without them was really hard at first, but I did find an immediate family with my advisory, which has been amazing every single year. But Mr. Baum really has been a mentor to me and has guided me and supported me every step of the way. So just trust that you'll be placed with the right person for you and that they will carry you through these 4 years at Hill.
I think one really cool thing about the advisory program here is how our faculty goes above and beyond. Typically, just yesterday, my advisor baked me cookies for no particular reason. I accepted graciously, but you'll meet with them typically twice a week. This year we do, but typically it's on a Tuesday. And as Sasha said, just another support system that you have and people who genuinely believe in you and want to see you have the best Hill experience possible.
I think it's important to know with our advisor system that these groups are really small and they're super intimate. So we're talking 6 to 7, maybe 8 people max with one advisor. So this is an opportunity for you to not only connect with an adult, but also you're going to become really close with, your 6 or 7 fellow classmates in your advisory. And, these relationships run super deep. We have, conversations ranging from whatever the chapel talk was that day to, what we're having for lunch or what we're doing that weekend. So it is important to note that these are super small groups and you really get a lot of one-on-one attention. And I know we've had some questions about transitions to Hill, and I think your advisor and your advisory in general is an area where you can really lean on for support and for, a lot of love and care.
All right. Well, if we were all together, now is the time I'd ask all of you to give our panelists a round of applause. We can do that virtually, of course. But thank you very much to the panelists for joining us here tonight. Again, congratulations to all the students and your families, of course, at home. We really want you to choose Hill. We hope tonight contributes to that feeling and helps you learn more about us. Please return. We're going to take a break for 5 minutes, but please return. At that point, Headmaster Zach Lehman will moderate a panel on balancing academics and co-curriculars. Thanks so much. Have a great night. Congratulations.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Zach Lehman, and I'm the headmaster here at the Hill School. I'm in my 9th year as headmaster, and I have three children, 2 of whom have graduated from the Hill School in class of 2016 and class of 2018. So in addition to being the headmaster here, I'm a former parent, and my great uncle went to Hill, several of my cousins went to Hill, so I have a lot of connections to the school. I'm thrilled to be here tonight. More importantly, I'm thrilled to be welcoming all of you to this second Revisit Day. In many cases, it's your first visit to the Hill School, and we hope that many of you will get a chance to come to campus and join us next fall for sure. We're going to do a panel here about balancing academics and co-curricular activities, and we've got an all-star panel here tonight that can really talk across all of those topics and how they've balanced those things over their time. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce the panel, or they're going to introduce themselves. Just a reminder that you can begin typing questions into the Q&A box. We have some already, but we'd love some more. And if you're excited to get your question elevated to the top of the list, all you need to do is raise your hand. We prefer to call on those who raise their hands because that's a little bit more fun. So I will turn it over to our first panelist.
Hi, my name is Tanner Eccleston. I am a part of the strength and conditioning program as well as the captain of the varsity lacrosse team.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Seth Albert, our Director of Athletics and Co-curriculars. This is my 20th year at Hill. We live on campus here. My wife and I was an instructor of engineering and day student dean with our 4 kids. And we have a 5th former, a 4th former, and a soon-to-be 3rd former.
Hello, my name is Chris McGriff. I'm the Director of the Center for the Arts and the instructor of theater. And this is my 3rd year here, and I'm just happy to be here tonight.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mamadou Ba from Bronx, New York. I'm also a 6th former, and I take part in varsity football and varsity lacrosse.
Hello, my name is Kendall Thomas. I'm a 6th former, and I'm a part of the Ellis Theater Guild and the dance program.
Hi there, I'm Katie Charles Hudak. I'm academic dean here at Hill. This is my 6th year at Hill. I'm also a member of the English department. I teach 3rd formers. I have 2 children here at Hill. One is the 6th former and one is the 3rd former. Welcome to the program.
Well, as I said, it's an all-star cast here on our panel. We're going to have some fun with the questions, and I'm going to take the first question, which is actually a combination of 2 questions from Caden and Anthony, and it's coming from a public school system. How is the transition in terms of academics? And for the students, how does the academic workload of a 3rd former compare to their 8th grade year? So it's sort of a combination of transition from public high school and transition from middle school to high school. So you ready, Ms. Eccleston? You ready to take it away?
Yes. So the first thing I would say is that the transition from middle school or your public high school or middle school, the transition is very easy. Teachers are very accommodating and are always welcome to offer extra help or work with you. And you have prefects that are more than willing to help you out too. So I would say, though the work may be a little bit more challenging, you definitely have the support to help you.
All right, Mamadou, you want to chime in here as well?
Yeah, no problem. So with all our course selections, we also offer like extra help from, let's say, like our fellows, like for like languages or math or anything, any particular subject. There will always be extra help that you can also get from like the older students, like the juniors and seniors.
Ms. Hudak, could you talk a little bit about extra help that we provide, especially for 3rd formers as they're arriving to get used to the workload and the academic rigor here?
Sure. So we take special care of our 3rd formers. As I mentioned earlier, I do teach the 3rd form in our English 1 program. And we do have some policies in place so that 3rd formers aren't getting, too overloaded with homework. You are obviously preparing for a number of classes each evening, but we have set study hall times when you are in your dorms. Prefects are available for extra help at those times. And we also do have teachers across campus who are offering extra help, both in person and right now on Zoom. So those are very accessible. And as Mamadou said, we also have our fellows programs, which are specially trained older students to help in different subject areas. So I agree with Tanner that although sometimes the work can seem challenging, and we do want to challenge you, and we push you to rise to that challenge, there are also lots and lots of supports in place so that you can make that transition in a really healthy and focused way.
Great. Michael asks, for the athletes, what is the average day like at the school? And we can expand that to include other co-curricular activities. Are there practices right after classes? Is it hard to manage school along with sports or theater or other co-curriculars? So who would like to jump in on this one? Okay, great.
Yeah, definitely. So with my experience in varsity football and varsity lacrosse, I believe this goes through like all the sports, but like academics will always come first. So you will go through your whole class day, and then practice usually comes after, depending on your coaches. So like usually it will be like 3:45 when classes end at 3, or maybe even like 4 o'clock. So depending on how your coach feels about it. And then also like game time, scheduling with schools. We always schedule with schools to make sure you're prioritizing academics above all. So there's definitely time to take care of.
Kendall, there's a related question. Can you talk about how our people who do theater balance that? Because that's a pretty demanding task as well, right?
Yeah, of course. So pretty much what we do is we have classes until 3, and then there's a half hour before our rehearsal starts at 3:30. And from there, we have rehearsal for 2.5 hours, and then you're going to have your study hall at the end of the day. And so, because theater is something that you are in rehearsal, but as Mr. McGriff says, you have to put in the work outside as well. It's as simple as just kind of going over your lines after you're done your homework or before bed, just listening to a song. It's very manageable. And it's all about time management. And if you are able to schedule yourself in a organized manner, you'll be 100% okay.
All right, we have a rapid fire question, and then we're going to go to our first hand up. This is for everyone. From Margot. What is your most memorable athletic or theater or afternoon activity memory at Hill? Mr. Albert, you go first.
I have a lot of great memories. And I guess as our boys basketball coach, there's a number of ones I can't rank over the other of just special nights in Gillis and Gym that are, the community comes together, and we have a great fan support, a great spirit, and just fun community nights as much as they are basketball as well.
I can remember a few buzzer beaters, some state championships along the way, for sure. Some rowdy games. All right, Tanner, how about you? Favorite co-curricular memory?
Yes, so this would have to be my sophomore year. I was on the varsity field hockey team, and we had just beat Lawrenceville at our big Lawrenceville weekend, which is our rival weekend every fall. And it was just really amazing to have all the students and all the spectators rush onto the field, and everyone like dogpiled, and it was a really fun experience.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear. What was the school we beat?
Lawrenceville.
Oh, right. Forgot. All right. Mr. McGriff.
I'm going to just put mine into it happened several times. My favorite part of the process would be being able, and a lot of people don't get to see this, but being able to watch our theater students on any of their shows from backstage. So watching our tech students and our cast kind of work together for all the coordination it really takes to put on a show. Seeing that teamwork is something really magical and just something great to see from our students.
All right. Amadou.
Yeah, definitely. As part of also like chorus and then the hill tones and trebles, like a cappella groups, I could definitely say one of my favorite memories was candlelight service. We do in the winters, definitely singing like Christmas carols in our chapel. So that is like definitely a memory to have.
Awesome. Kendall?
I would say my favorite experience so far has been
through the dance program. We've had multiple recitals, and just being able to see something that we've worked on for so long. And, if there was a certain move that I didn't have before, and then I finally nailed it on stage, it was really an amazing experience. And just being able to have that, like, okay, we did that, like after it happened, and like feeling that connection with everyone else who's on the stage with you, and especially receiving like such an enthusiastic applause from the crowd is really amazing.
All right, Ms. Hudak, you have the last word on this question.
All right. My favorite co-curricular memory is actually of my daughter, who had skated maybe 3 or 4 times before we came here to Hill. And she got it in her head she wanted to play hockey. And so she did. She joined the JV girls hockey team, and numbers dwindled when she was in the 5th form. So the boys JV hockey team welcomed her onto their team for that year. So it's really a special experience for our family.
So we heard basketball, field hockey, candlelight vigil, backstage theater, dance, and sort of boys/girls JV ice hockey. We covered a lot of ground on that question. All right, we're going to go to our next question, which is a hand up. Lily, who's been active on the chat all night, and she gets the first question for this panel. Hi, Lily, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you. So my question is, what's like the difference coming in as a new 10th grader versus a new 9th grader? Like, are there a lot of differences? Like, what's different about it?
Kendall, you want to take this question?
Yeah, so I came in as a 10th grader, and I have to say the transition was very seamless. There are a good handful of people who come in 10th grade year, and so, or your 4th form year. And so it's really something that the school has been accustomed to welcoming. And as soon as you get into the dorm, because in that year, if you're a boarder, all the girls live in the same dorm, it's really easy to get to know people, and especially just like walking around, family nights, which are, nights you spend with the dorm. And then, just there's a lot of icebreakers, which, you would think are corny, but they really helped out for me a lot. And, it's really easy as long as you're having an open mind and, just try to talk to people.
So that's a great question and a terrific answer. We typically have about 20 to 30 new 4th formers, about 15 to 20, 25 new 5th formers, and usually somewhere in the 15 to 20 range of new 6th formers and postgraduates. So I think the experience has been that most of those students really blend in right away. So thanks for that question, Lily. I guess you're visiting tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Yeah, hopefully I get to see you guys tomorrow. Like, if you guys want to come out, and I'm so excited. Thank you for answering my question.
Well, they'll be like celebrities tomorrow as you're walking around campus. You'll say, I saw you on TV last night. Thanks, Lily. All right, Alexandra also has her hand up. Alexandra, are you there? Hold on a second. There you go, Alexandra.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can.
All right, so this is a question for the students. Is there a new interest or activity that you picked up at Hill that surprised you?
Is there a new interest or activity that you picked up at Hill or tried out at Hill that surprised you? Mamadou, shaking his head. He's got an answer.
Yeah.
I think he's going to start with, yeah, definitely.
Yes, definitely. So, because for chorus and like the a cappella group singing, that's what I picked up on coming into Hill. Because I never thought, I always like singing like in the shower, like, things like that. But like coming in Hill, like, because it's actually like a funny story, because I was singing on like our 3rd form retreat, singing like a little line, and then like our choir director, Mrs. Lim, she was like just eyeballing me down. And then from then on, like I just like singing ever since, like in a bunch of concerts, solos here and there, getting the crowd together in different seasons, the fall, the winter, and the spring. So singing was definitely something I picked up on, and it was fun.
You were like discovered at Hill at a 3rd form retreat.
Basically.
And it's never been the same since. All right. Kendall, how about you? Something you tried at Hill for the first time that you maybe surprised you or you hadn't done before?
Yeah, 100%. And I'm going to turn back to the dance program. Before I came to Hill, I genuinely had never danced before. I really in my family was known for being a really bad dancer. And then when I came here and started doing some of the musicals, and I realized that, maybe I could just try it out. And so I took a dance class, and I mean, our dance teacher is absolutely wonderful and such a welcoming community that, if you've been dancing for years, you can do it. If you just want to try it out like I did, you can. And it is such a inclusive environment that you can really pick it up from wherever you are. And I did. And now I love it. I've been taking dance for 2 years, and I consider it a major part of my experience here.
And Kendall, can you talk just a little bit about how dance is offered here in different ways?
Yeah,
during the
of course.
academic day versus afternoons?
Yeah, of course. So there's a dance class that you can take as an art, like just during your regular schedule. You can go about it like any other class. Or there is the afternoon activity where you can sign up to in the form of like whether or not like similar as you would do a sport or theater or something like that. And you can go into the dance studio after school. We also have a club, the dance club, Dance and Step. And as well as there is another dance club that Miss Cobbs, who's the dance instructor, comes in last year before COVID, but comes in and helps out on Sundays. And so there's so many different opportunities for you to dance. And even if you're not a part of those programs, the dance studio is open to you.
The fun fact, Kendall, I've been invited to be in several theater productions, but never a dance recital.
Wow. We'll have to
we could
change
maybe
that.
take me up on that and
Yeah.
this spring, maybe a special new tradition.
I'm thinking
All
a
right.
solo, maybe a duet even.
A duet.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Exciting. I would probably need some help. All right. Tanner, how about you? Something you discovered at Hill?
I would say something that I discovered at Hill is I'm actually a head of tour and a tour guide, and I have been for 4 years. And I never realized how much I really enjoy like connecting with prospective students and families. And I really enjoyed taking on that leadership role of working with the admissions office and giving tours. And it's also given me the opportunity to learn more about Hill.
Your father is the director of admissions.
He might be. Yes.
You might have thought that would be in your blood.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Well, we have a few more hands up and we have a few more minutes. So we'll go to Logan Ray. Logan, can you hear me? Logan, are you there?
Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, cool. My question is for students that really are interested and passionate about science like I am. Like what kind of science opportunities or like activities do you think that you enjoy the most at the Hill School?
All right. Well, I'm first going to turn that over to Mrs. Hudak, who's going to talk about sciences in general. And then one or two of our students may chime in about sciences and different science activities.
Yeah, Logan, good question. So we have a really robust science program here at Hill. You may have seen if you visited or been on the website. Our new quadrivium building featured. It's a beautiful new STEM building with beautiful state-of-the-art labs and all the equipment that you could need to really pursue a science high school career here. So as a third former, you will take either integrated science or biology and then move into chemistry, typically in your fourth form year. And then in your fifth and sixth form year, you have, a wide array of classes that you can take, lab-based classes, advanced placement classes. We have environmental science, led by a really passionate environmental scientist. So lots of opportunities for science. We also have a new program that's just beginning called the Quadrivium Scholars Program, which is a research-based program led by the Dean of the Shirley Quadrivium. I always stumble over that word, Mr. Jared Courtney. So lots of opportunities, Logan, for you to pursue your passion in science.
Logan, if you're still there, you get extra points if you can tell us what the translation of quadrivium is in Latin.
Quad is 4. So would it be, really not sure. Would it be 4 rooms or 4 labs? I'm
You got the 4 right, it's quad. And then rivium, what does it sound like? What word? It's like it's not a stream, but it's a
river.
river.
So
4 rivers. So
Yeah.
where four rivers meet, that's Latin for stem. Anyway, all right. Students, Mamadou, you want to take the first stab at science activities, engineering, anything out there that's fun and different?
Yeah, definitely. So like, as you probably are aware of, since like a lot of our science classes is intertwined with like math, you could definitely find classes like physics, mechanics per se, because you'll take a wide array of science classes like biology, chemistry, physics, and things like that. And then also another program we take pride in is like our engineering, as I'm in engineering. And that's basically like considered one of our like science, technology, math, STEM classes, things like that. So it's definitely cool because we get to build like a robot by the end of our time in the program and see if like it works, getting challenged for the better. So definitely.
Awesome. Kendall, you want to add anything on the sciences?
Yeah, so this year I'm taking environmental science, which I have absolutely loved, especially because I think that a lot of the topics that we're discussing are totally relevant to all the other classes that I'm taking. And so especially like things like a religious class actually, or even my psychology class, or even my humanities class. And because we're discussing like the environment is such a wide and, a large topic, that we've discussed things like I just had a test today on agriculture, and we talked about, women and the role of women in the environment. And it's been so interesting and so eye-opening. And so I am a major fan of that course. Definitely recommend it.
All right, there's a question from Henry for Mr. Eilberg, which is, when it's the off season for your sport, are there opportunities to keep practicing and even competing?
Thanks, Henry. Good question. We're really fortunate to have incredible resources here, both facilities as well as, our coaching staff, including a sports performance team that really, I think, is second to none. We have a head strength coach, Steve Notebart, who was a Division I NCAA head strength coach before he joined our team. And he and his group of strength coaches will work with our student athletes outside their season. They work with our teams in season as well. And so you can take a strength and conditioning program, or you can be on our team builder program, where you'll have a workout provided for you daily. Lots of options for training that range from weight room stuff to speed work to core work. And then on top of that, our coaches are really committed to supporting the sport specific skill training of our student athletes, both in and out of season. So lots of opportunities for player development that we're eager to support when you're out of your season in different ways.
Thanks, Mr. Eilberg. We have a question from Ford from Denver. Ooh, that's a little loud, sorry. What is the hardest part about managing your time, and how did you get used to being away from home? Kendall, you want to start?
Sure, yeah, of course. Quite honestly, there's so many events planned when you first get here that your mind is just kind of off of home, or at least that's how it was for me. You're kind of, as it refers to time, the whole day is pretty much scheduled for you, to be honest. The time that you really have to schedule is after your activity, from dinner to study hall. And, the rest is like classes and your activity, and then dinner, and then study hall. And then you have an hour to an hour and a half before bed. And so when it comes to time management, you really just have to decide what you're going to do to fill the scheduled time. And so whether that's, getting your homework done actually during study hall and not procrastinating and waiting to do it right before bed, or even just, finding time during a lunch break to sit down and, catch up or something like that. The day is scheduled for you. It's just how you handle what's already done.
Tanner, how about you? Time management.
I agree with Kendall that our days are very scheduled, but I would also say that even though they feel very scheduled, we do have a significant amount of free time, especially in these crazy COVID times. So I think you just really need to take opportunities when you have them, take advantage of the free time you have, whether that be a free period or time after school or time before dinner, whatever it may be, use that time to get some extra work done or relax or go see friends, fill your time how you want, and Hill kind of takes care of the rest.
All right, we have time for one last question, and it's rapid fire. And you can only use a maximum of 3 words to answer. That wasn't the actual question, but I'm making the rules. That's what I do here. And it's from Tucker. Said, how would you describe the character of the Hill School community in all aspects of school life that everyone on the panel represents? So it's like the broadest question in the world, but you only get 3 questions, three words to answer character of the Hill School community in all aspects of school life that everyone on the panel represents. So sort of a personal question. Who would like to take it first? Mr. McGriff, we haven't heard from you.
I was really hoping I was going to have time to think about it. Let's go family, caring, encouraging.
Okay, now a new rule. You can't repeat any words that were said before. So you might want to go next. Kendall?
You really took it from me. I'm just going to have to say generous.
Generous. Okay, good. You don't have to use 3 words. That's also another rule.
Okay.
All right, Mamadou.
All right. Authentic. Goofy. And nerdy.
Nerdy?
To an extent.
Did you just say nerdy?
Nerdy.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Okay. All right, Tanner.
I would say unified, passionate, and friendly.
Okay. Zudak.
Challenging, supported, and fun.
Mr. Albert, you get the last word.
Humble, gritty, and talented.
Humble, gritty, talented, friendly, family, nerdy. We had a lot of words out there. Awesome. Well, this has been a terrific panel. Great answers, great people. And we're going to head to the activity fair next. The activity link should be in your email. It's also in the chat here. You can go to the activity fair and go into any room you would like, any chat that you would like, either co-curriculars or other activities there. And then you can go back to the landing page and pick another one. And then we'll all rejoin here for Q&A with me. So think about some good questions there, and hopefully you have a great time in the activities panel. A special thanks to all of our panelists again, and we'll see you in a little bit. Thanks so much. Well, welcome back, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the activities fair. We're going to get a little bit more cozy here and take some Q&A. It's great to have so many people on the Zoom today. It's our second of 3 virtual revisit days. We've also already had 2 in-person tour days. We have another one tomorrow and another one coming up next week. We're getting down to the deadline here of April 10th, and I know many of you have already made your decision and are here just to learn more, but some of you are still making a difficult decision, and my goal here is to answer as many of your questions as possible so that you can make an informed decision and figure out which is the right school for you. Just 2 seconds on me. I think it's always important to know a little bit about a school's leader as you're choosing schools. As I shared at the top of the hour, I've been at Hill now for 9 years. When you arrive here at Hill, it'll be my 10th year at Hill. My wife and I live right on campus with our 3 children, although none of them are home anymore. It's just us and our dog, Reuben. Our 3 children, 2 graduated in 2016 and 18, and our daughter will graduate this year. We are thrilled to be part of this community, and it is really a community. That word is so strong here at the Hill. We are proud of the tight-knit family atmosphere that we create here, and we're very intentional about creating that. And I think that's one of the things that's most unique about Hill. And every school that you visit or talk to or learn about will always tout their community. But I don't know another school that is as intentional and as authentic in building that community. And that happens through 8 full community meetings every week when we have 5 seated lunches, 1 seated dinner, and 2 chapels where our entire community comes together under one roof and spends time together. It might be your advisory that meets twice a week. It might be your athletic team. It may be your hall in the dormitory that meets for family night on Tuesday nights. It might be your form that has form socials or other form events like retreats. Or maybe another co-curricular program that you're involved with, or a club or a different activity. So there are small communities, there are medium-sized communities, and there are large communities, but it's all a very tight-knit family atmosphere. At the same time, just because we're a traditional tight-knit community doesn't mean that we're not forward-thinking or progressive in terms of how we learn here, what we learn, how we teach our students to be critical thinkers, good citizens, and move on in their college and careers to have success. So we're all about creating a warm and friendly atmosphere, but also preparing you for your future. So with that, I want to just take some questions tonight. And again, you can ask your questions by either loading them into the Q&A box or raising your hand, and hopefully we'll have some brave souls that will raise their hand. I see we have a few questions. I'll take one of the written questions. We don't have any hands up yet, but I will say the first person to raise their hand will get a swag bag, which is always fun to get. So usually that puts a hand up immediately. So the first question here is, how have you been able to stay together as a community through COVID? And are there any aspects of this year that you hope will carry over to the future? First of all, I know this has been a really difficult year for many of our admitted students coming from different environments, whether it's a in-person, virtual, or hybrid mode. And it's been difficult for everyone. We've been very fortunate here to be able to create a community and really a bubble where we've been able to maintain safety, health, and an academic and co-curricular environment. We've been in session with about 95% of our students on campus throughout the year. We've been able to do all of our academics in person. For those students who can't be on campus, they've been able to do so remotely. But even those students have been able to join us for the most part on campus at some point. We've been able to do most of our activities. We didn't get to play a whole lot of interscholastic sports in the fall, but we did so in the winter. And again, we've started up interscholastic sports this spring. There's certainly parts of COVID-19 and running a school during COVID-19 that we have no interest in repeating in the future, and we don't anticipate having to do that in future years. But there are some silver linings. One of the things that we've really enjoyed is doing chapel differently. We do chapel by advisory groups instead of as a whole school. And so we'll probably go back to doing it as a whole school, but we'll maybe gather by advisory to talk about chapel sessions and chapel talks. We've also had a different kind of schedule this year, a modified block schedule with longer class periods and fewer classes per day. And that's an area that we'd like to continue as well. We also had a H-term, which was a 6-week authentic learning experiences program. It was remote this year, but we're going to repeat that next year, not as long, probably about 2 to 3 weeks. And that will be on campus, but with the ability to do independent projects and internships off campus for students who would like to. So there are those silver linings, and we hope to continue practicing some of those. But for the most part, we're looking forward to getting back to a normal routine where we can celebrate all of our traditions and campus events as well. So we now have 3 hands up. It took some swag to get it done, but we're going to go to Alexandra, who I think had a question earlier today. But Alexandra, can you hear me?
Yes, hi.
How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good. What's your question tonight?
How would I go about getting an internship during, I think, the summer of junior year?
Sure. So there are two opportunities for internships. So first of all, as I mentioned just a moment ago, we have the H-term, and a number of our students, probably 50 to 100 of our students this year, were able to get H-term internships or jobs or do independent service projects, that sort of thing. And so we can help you with that. We have an H-term coordinator who helps with that. And then we also have a summer coordinator, Mrs. Murphy. She actually is also the H-term coordinator. So she helps with summer events, summer experiences and internships. So you would just set up an appointment with her and talk to her about the kinds of things that you're interested in. And she may be able to connect you to alumni or to other members of our community that are looking for interns. It depends on where you want to do it and what you want to pursue. And some of that is going to be on you as well. But there's definitely an opportunity to network through the Hill community to look at internships. All right. Next hand up is Mallory. Mallory, how are you tonight? Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me well?
I can hear you perfectly, Mallory. Where are you calling from?
Downingtown, Pennsylvania.
Not too far away. All right. What's on your mind in Downingtown today?
So I'm looking forward to starting at Hill in the fall, and I'm planning on playing golf. But how have students in the past chose opportunities in co-curricular activities, considering all of the great things Hill offers?
Great. Well, first of all, welcome to Hill. We're so excited that you're going to be joining us next fall, Mallory. And we have a terrific girls golf program here at the school. We own our own golf course. We have a simulator on campus. We have a small practice range, and we're building a new practice range at Brookside Country Club for next year. So everything is at your fingertips. But you might want to try something new. And your question is, how do you choose things? How do you learn about things? So just like we just had with that activities fair, there's an opportunity at the beginning of the year and throughout the year to learn about different activities. And there's a sign-up day, and there's a sort of a sign-up event. And if you go to an activity and it's not for you, after a few days or like into the first or second week, you can change activities. We do ask that you stick with an activity once you've made that initial move within those first week or two. And then you can change it each year. So one of my sons played different sports each spring, but his fall and winter sport were always the same. So you can change it up each year, or you can stick with the same sport for all 4 years or however many years you're going to be at Hill.
Thank you so much for answering my question.
You're welcome. Go Hill Golf. All right. David has his hand up. We're going to take David's question. David, where are you calling from?
Hello. I'm calling from Washington Crossing, Pennsylvania.
All right. We've got a lot of Pennsylvania people on the line here. The next hand up has to be from somewhere outside of Pennsylvania. So we're looking to send a swag bag long distance. So the next hand up, let's hope it's maybe even a different country. All right, David, what's your question?
All right. So I was wondering if I know community service is a big thing at Hill, but how does service hours kind of transfer over from my current school to Hill?
Okay. So you're at a school that requires a certain number of community service. You've been tracking that?
Yep. So it's called the Links hours. I currently have just around 160 hours. So I was wondering if those will kind of carry over to Hill.
That's all you've got? Just 160?
Yeah, it's been a slow year.
I'm just kidding, David. No, so we don't have an hourly requirement here. So there's no real transfer of community service hours here. And you sort of aren't excused from the community service requirement here at Hill. There's different ways to complete community service at Hill. So one way is to actually sign up for our afternoon community service program, which is you can take any of the 3 terms, and that's local community service or service learning. We're actually developing some pretty cool service learning opportunities for next year, an engineering service learning program, and also a financial literacy service learning program, both of which are going to be awesome. In terms of their other sort of community service requirements, we often will have a full community day where we sort of stop what we're doing. It's called Pottstown Cares, and we all contribute to the community. We also, every weekend, there are community service options that you can sign up for, whether it's for a few hours or for a full day or for the full weekend. And then there are a number of community service clubs, and every student on campus also has what's called campus service, which is community service to the Hill community. So I'm not sure that we're going to put in 160 hours in a year or in 4 years. It really depends on the student and their commitment to community service. It may be more, it may be less, but there's certainly an opportunity to serve here at the Hill.
All right, thank you so much.
Keep it up. We'd love to have that spirit here at Hill. All right, Claire Walker. Claire has her hand up. Claire, are you from outside of Pennsylvania?
I'm from Kalamazoo, Michigan, so yes.
Michigan. All right, almost a different time zone. You almost got there.
Yeah, we're like right on the edge.
Right.
We probably should be in Central Time, but so I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about the advisor system and like how students can get support, because obviously boarding school is like a big transition, like both academically and through that transition.
It's an awesome question, and thanks for asking it, Claire. So just Claire, real quick, what form would you be joining us in next year?
I believe it's third form, so freshman year.
Got it. You're learning the form system. It took me a few years too. So basically, all students are assigned an advisor, and it's sort of a general advisor. Sometimes it's academic, sometimes it's more sort of health and wellness, sometimes it's just sort of like someone you can lean on for personal matters as well. And we do a very good job, we think, of assigning advisors in the first year. It's done primarily by the admissions office, who has spent a lot of time learning about you, reading your application and file, and knows you pretty well, has interviewed you. We try to match you with an advisor that we think will both complement you and challenge you, but also be a good personality fit. And so each advisor here has typically between 6 and 8 advisees, which they meet with together as a group twice a week, once for an advisory meeting and once for an advisory lunch. And those students range across different classes or forms. So you may have a few third formers, fourth formers, fifth formers, and sixth formers. And that's pretty cool too, because you get to know students who've sort of had those experiences that you're just trying for the first time. They have some advice for you. So the advisor becomes an important relationship, but the advisory becomes an especially important relationship even after you graduate from Hill. My son, when he comes back to campus, will go and visit his advisory. He'll actually put on his sixth form blazer and surprise the advisory and show up. And usually when there's a lunch involved, he eats a lot. But in any event, so the advisory and the advisor are important. Now, if the advisor match is not a good one, or not perfect, or you develop a really strong relationship with another adult on campus, or perhaps your advisor leaves or retires, you get to choose your advisor. And there's no hard feelings if you want to do that. It may just be a closer connection. And I would say somewhere in the 10 to 20% of our students will change their advisor each year. But generally, people stick with their advisors for all the years that they're at Hill. And it becomes an important relationship for you during your time at Hill and beyond. It also becomes a really important relationship for your parents. So when your parents have a concern, their first point of contact is the advisor. So if they feel like you're struggling in your schoolwork or struggling in some other aspect, they'll call the advisor, and the advisor will sort of reach out to the different teachers or other people on campus that may that may be involved, so they can facilitate that conversation. So that's the first point of contact for parents, but it's also can be a really good resource for parents as well. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right. Well, what's most important to you, Claire, in your advisor for next year? I'll put a note in your file.
I don't know. I guess someone that I like kind of just click with personality wise. I don't know, like someone that I can be serious with, but also just have a good time with, so that we really click and I can like talk to them if I really need help.
So personality is more important than like different subject areas or sports or something like that.
I guess so, yeah, because I don't know, I feel like if I don't click with them personality wise, I'm not going to want to like talk to them about stuff as much, you know?
Sure. Well, Mrs. Doherty will do her magic. She usually is a terrific matchmaker for advisees and advisors. So we'll get it done. All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Claire. Looking forward to seeing you next fall, I hope. All right. We have another hand up. Isabella. Isabella, can you hear me?
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. Where are you calling from?
New Jersey.
We got out of Pennsylvania, but we didn't get to another country yet. All right. Isabella, where in New Jersey?
In Burlington,
Burlington. And what form will you be in next year?
5th form.
All right. And have you already chosen Hill or do I need to sell you tonight?
I have chosen Hill. I have committed.
So I don't even need to answer your question. I'm just kidding. What's your question tonight, Isabel?
So I would just love to know a little bit more about how the family-oriented community plays into like the daily aspects and daily life at Hill, like the sports and the academics and just daily interactions that students and teachers have with each other.
Okay. Well, so many of you know that the school's nickname is a family boarding school. And actually that was our first official name. We were the family boarding school for young men and boys when we were founded in 1851. And the concept was actually new. The boarding school concept was new to the United States. So in many ways, we were the first true boarding school in America. And our founder, Mr. Meggs, had this idea of having students and faculty living under one roof, going to school together, eating their meals together, and creating a family environment. Theoretically, the headmaster was supposed to be sort of the father figure. The teachers were supposed to be sort of the uncles and aunts. And students were supposed to have sort of sibling-like relationships. And there's actually documentation about his thinking about this. And so that tradition, that culture has maintained here at Hill, even though that original name was sort of a mouthful. It was sort of hard to say, where do you go to school? And you say, well, I go to the family boarding school for young men and boys. And then we went co-ed, and you know the story. It just became easier to say, I go to the school up on top of the hill, and then it became the Hill School. But we're still, again, like I said at the top of the hour, very deliberate about creating that family atmosphere. So one thing that you should know about is family night. So if you're a boarding student, which you would be, unless you're going to drive from New Jersey every day, every Tuesday night, your hall, which is usually 12 to 15 students, will come together with the dorm parents and do some sort of fun activity, sort of family style. So it could be play a board game, watch a movie, go play kickball, or challenge another hall to broomball, or make brownies, or have a great snack, or something along those lines. And so that's a family experience. Our seated meals are very much a family experience with a faculty member sitting at each end of the table, 15 or 16 kids sitting at the table in different groupings, whether it's your advisory or your team or the theater production sitting together, or some random students selected for half of a term to be together. There's also, what I mentioned before, the advisory is very much sort of a family setting. And then things like chapel and other events on campus, which really have a family feel to it. The other thing is everyone's going to know you and you're going to know everyone. So the moment you arrive on campus, I will greet you by name. I'll know something about you. And that's the beginning of a relationship where we'll know each other. And that's true for all of your teachers and dorm parents and coaches and other adults on campus. So you're just going to be known here, and people are going to know when you're doing well. They're going to celebrate your success, and they're going to be there for you when you're going through struggles or difficult times. So that's what a family does.
Thank you so much for answering my question.
You're welcome. And we'll see you in the fall. Go Hill.
Yes, I'm very excited.
Oh, we cut you off there. Sorry. I think you were going to say you're very excited. We are too. All right. Lily's got her hand up. We've heard from Lily a little bit already tonight. Lily, you back?
Yeah, I'm back. I have a question.
All right. Good. We like questions.
So I'm currently a Girl Scout, and I want to complete my Gold Award, but I'm not sure if it would be like if the community service from that would like work, or if I could even still do Girl Scouts as an outside commitment. Like, I don't know. It's a very flexible schedule, Girl Scouts, since I can do the award on my own time and whenever my free time, but I just don't know like if I could manage outside commitments or if that would count for community service.
Your question is a good one and timely. I just opened my mail today, and I was informed by the Girl Scouts of one of our students who is being awarded her Gold Award. And also I got, a few days ago, I got a letter about an Eagle Scout for the Boy Scouts. So the answer to this question is yes, totally possible. A little bit more difficult as a boarder to do some of those things, because as a day student, you can go back and forth from home and do those kinds of things on the weekends and maintain those, that connection. But there's clearly a way to work it out. I'm not as familiar with it. I have been invited to some Eagle Scout and Gold Award celebrations for our students over the years. So I think you can do that. I think you need to talk to the folks at the Girl Scouts in terms of what will qualify in terms of community service hours and other things.
Yeah, especially because like it's always possible to do something related to like the Hill School and do something in integration with the school, which could count too. So, you kind of kill two birds with one stone.
And then we also have, in some years we've had, you're going to have to help me out here. What are the little Girl Scouts called? Brownies?
There's daisies, then brownies, then juniors, then cadets, then seniors, then ambassadors, I think, and then you're done.
Yeah, I knew all of those except for the first one. Just kidding. We've had some brownie troops on campus with like faculty children and stuff like that. So maybe there's a way also for you to be involved with that as sort of a junior leader. So that may be a way too.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, welcome aboard. All right, we have another. Nope, hands are down. I'll go to a question. Hi, I'm Maggie Klassen, an incoming fifth former. I was wondering when the course selection process begins. How do I go about choosing my class for next year? All right, so after April 10th, when you've all signed up to be Hill students, you'll start hearing regular communication from Hill and from our academic office. And there's different stages to that. There are certain sort of paperwork things that you and your parents will do, but the class selection and class placement is really the most important part of that. And so depending on what courses you're taking, you might do an online placement form or a written placement form for math or for world languages, even perhaps for science. And so we get the placement hopefully right, although we can adjust that when you arrive. And then you'll work directly with Ms. Kim in our academic office. She's our director of studies and instruction. And you can set up an appointment with her to talk through your classes, especially as a fifth former, because that's a little bit more tricky than let's say a new third former, where you have more flexibility in your schedule and more electives. So you want to get those just right. But again, when you get here, if something isn't quite right, we can adjust that and move you around different sections, different levels, and whether it's AP, honors, regular, embedded honors, that sort of thing. All right, hopefully that answered your question. How does the Hill School support student athletes who are looking to play their sport in college? Well, first of all, we have outstanding coaches, we have outstanding training facilities, and we've got a great support staff and strength and conditioning. Our athletic trainers are amazing, and we do really rigorous and competitive scheduling for all of our teams. One of the things that Hill has that I'm not aware of any other boarding school having is we have a student athlete specialist, an NCAA specialist in our college counseling office, Mr. Murphy, who was a former Division I college coach and is an experienced college counselor. And so he blends those two skill sets together and assists our college-bound NCAA athletes with that process and really understands it from both sides. And what we do in that, we will certainly identify the students who are sort of college-bound athletes earlier in their experience, because that recruiting process happens much earlier than the traditional sort of fall of your sixth form year. And so we will help you. It could be as early as your third or fourth form year, depending on the sport and depending on how recruited you're being. So I think that is unique to Hill and a great opportunity if you're a student-bound athlete, so a college-bound athlete. All right, we've got a hand up. Sarah Anthony. You're using an older version of, let's promote her to panelist. All right, Sarah, you're going to become a panelist. You get to answer questions now. Sarah, can you hear me?
Hello, hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, you've got an outdated version of Zoom, which meant we couldn't just let you speak. You had to become a panelist. So will you take the rest of the questions for the rest of the night?
No. No.
I'm kidding, Sarah. Sarah, where are you calling from?
Kitchener, Ontario, Canada.
We made it. We made it to another country. Awesome. Ontario, what town?
Kitchener,
Kitchener. Where is that near?
Toronto.
Toronto. All right. Well, welcome, Sarah. Again, question, have you chosen Hill or are we still working on you here?
Yes, I have. I've chosen Hill.
Awesome. Well, welcome to Hill. And what's your question tonight, Sarah?
I was just wondering if the borders open anytime soon, will there be opportunities for students who are in different countries to come visit campus maybe in the summer?
Absolutely. So we are open for campus visitors right now, and we have some scheduled visit days, and some students who can't make those dates can certainly come and visit. Once the borders open and vaccinations continue to roll out, I think it's going to be easier for our Canadian and other international students to visit Hill or visit campus without a long quarantine and that sort of thing. So as soon as that happens, give our admissions office a call, and we would love to have you come and visit campus. We'll make sure that happens.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for answering my question.
All right. Welcome aboard. We've got a lot of Canadians here, so that's fun for you. All right, we're going to go back. We have just a few minutes left, so if one more person wants to raise their hand, I'll take one more written question, and then we'll go to the last hand up if we have one. So when is the first day of school, and when will the calendar be out? So I'm going to expand on this question just a little bit because I think it's that question about what's next year going to be like. But I'll specifically take your question. So we think that the first day of classes is going to be about September 6th or September 7th. And depending on what form you're coming into, or if you're a fall varsity athlete, you may have to come anywhere between 2 weeks to a week or maybe 3 or 4 days early. We're still developing sort of our orientation program because we think that there's going to be some learning gaps for some of our new students and also some socialization things that we want to do after a long year of sort of remote participation for many of our incoming students. And certainly our new varsity athletes in the fall will come back about 10 days to 14 days early, depending on the sport, to get ready for their seasons. But in general, we're expecting a pretty normal year. This year was definitely different. We changed our whole calendar, our weekly schedule, our daily schedule. But we anticipate returning to the way things mostly were in 2019 and before that. So we'll have a pretty traditional fall term where we hope to have an H term between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Then we'll have a winter trimester after New Year's, probably start up around the 4th or 5th, give or take, and then a spring break and then a spring term. So we're looking forward to getting back to our trimester calendar plus the H term, and then we'll have some long weekends built in there as well. At the same time, we're also expecting to return to our sort of normal coming and going on campus, weekend activities, on and off campus, the ability to play club sports, and day students being able to take advantage of coming to campus as frequently as they'd like. So there have been some limitations to that for obvious reasons this year, and it's kept us safe and healthy, but it's definitely been restrictive in a way that we would prefer to go back to. All right, no hands up. So we'll take one more question here. And then let's see here. Well, it's a good question. Is there a noticeable gap between day and boarding students? How are they integrated with each other? So tonight on the call, we probably have about half and half day students and boarding students. So it's a terrific question to end on. There really isn't that much of a difference in a normal year between day students and boarding students. We have about 20% of our students are day students, 20 to 25%, and all day students must board for 1 year, typically during their sixth form years when they choose to do that, but not all of them. And other than really going home late at night, there's really not that much difference between day students and boarders. And you can even spend a weekend here if you'd like, spend the night in one of your boarding friends' rooms. There's definitely a little bit of a difference in that our day students get to go home and enjoy some time at home, some privacy at home, some time with family a little bit more frequently. But they're definitely integrated right into the school and into their form and into their activities, into their classes. We don't really do any separate activities for boarders or day students. And it's really up to you in terms of how far you want to dial that up or dial it down. in terms of the amount of time that you spend on campus. I will say that day students' advice that they give just before they graduate to new incoming students or young students is spend as much time as you can on campus, because a lot of really cool things happen in the evenings and on weekends, and you don't want to miss out on those because it's definitely integral to the experience at Hill. So we got one last question. Anthony raised his hand just in the nick of time, and we'll take Anthony's question. Hopefully we'll end on a high note. Anthony, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can. Where are you calling from, Anthony?
I'm calling from Fleetwood, Pennsylvania.
All right. We're going to end with someone from Pennsylvania and Fleetwood. We've had some students here from Fleetwood. Do you know the DeLand family?
No, I'm not really sure, but
the DeLands have the best Christmas decorations in all of Fleetwood. You've had to have seen their house. In any event, Anthony, I'm sure you weren't calling to talk about Fleetwood. What's your question tonight?
Mine's kind of just a quick question. I'm assuming you have to take a foreign language, but I was just wondering for how many years and like how many languages you have to take.
What do you take a language now, Anthony?
Yeah, I do take French and Latin at my school.
Okay, so we offer a number of languages here. Currently, we offer French, Spanish, Arabic, Chinese, Latin, and Greek. And so from those choices, you have to take either one language for 3 years or 2 languages for 2 years each. And you can take more if you'd like. You could take 2 languages for 4 years. You could continue with French and Latin here. That's actually fairly common at the Hill. And you're arriving you would be arriving as a third former, Anthony?
Yes, I would.
Right, so those would be your requirements. They're a little bit different for students who arrive in upper forms. Obviously, you can't take 3 years of a language if you're only here for a year or 2.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So what do you think? You're going to stick with French and Latin?
I might.
Okay.
I'm not really sure yet.
Have you heard my Latin quiz, your placement quiz?
No.
You're not, okay, so ready? This is your test. Semper ubi sub ubi. What does it mean? Semper, what is semper?
I forget.
All right. It means always wear underwear. So I guess we're ending on a high note.
All right.
So anyway, we'll work on your Latin next year. If you want to take Latin, that would be great. But we'll figure it out from there. But that's good advice to end on. Anyway, thank you all for joining us. Always trying to keep it light and fun here at the Hill School. As I mentioned before, our deadline's coming up April 10th. We'd certainly love to hear from you. If you haven't made your decision anytime between now and April 10th, the sooner the better. We do have a long wait list. So if you're not choosing Hill, and presumably if you're on the call tonight, you're pretty excited about Hill and you're thinking strongly about it. But if you're not going to choose Hill, please let us know so that we can maybe offer that opportunity to someone on our wait list. If you have any questions about Hill, please do reach out to the admission office, or you can reach out to me directly at zlehman@thehill.org. Happy to take your questions anytime. We do hope to see some of you at our last 2 campus tour dates, tomorrow and next week. I think it's next Tuesday. Again, if you need to schedule a tour beyond that, please do be in touch with the admissions office, and if you have any other questions. Hill is a special place filled with special people and exciting programs and opportunities, and we really hope that you choose Hill so that you can experience your own Hill. Thanks for joining us tonight. Have a great evening. Go Hill.